Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel, and I wanted to come on here real fast and do a pregnancy update. This is something that I used to watch all the time before I started my YouTube channel, and I was like, that's so cool because I've always wanted to document each pregnancy, and I wrote as much as I could remember down from my first three, but I never filmed anything, and I regret it because looking back, it's like, man, that'd be cool to kind of compare, because I compare based on memory, and quite honestly, I don't remember a lot of different things from each pregnancy. I remember like the very beginning of each pregnancy, but that's pretty much it. And I'm over halfway through my fourth pregnancy, but I figured, why not start now? I keep putting it off, and I'm like, I'm going to regret it if I don't at least do something. This would probably be for like 27 to 28 weeks. I am currently 29 weeks and 3 days. My weeks switch over, actually 2 days. I don't know. My weeks switch over on Sunday. So, I believe it's 29 weeks and 2 days. The baby, which by the way, I'm having a girl. My baby girl is the size of a butternut squash. A few things that, I said fourth pregnancy, this is technically my seventh. I had 3 early miscarriages before I had my first, my oldest daughter. They were unexplained. The doctors didn't know. They ran blood tests, and everything was fine with me, and we had no problem getting pregnant. It was just I couldn't stay pregnant, apparently. The longest I made it was about 7.5 weeks. So that's a whole other story in and of itself. So after I believe the first time I found out I was pregnant, it was 2011, and my oldest was born, it was October 2011. My oldest was born September 2013, so it took almost 2 years. I was 10 months old. I found out I was pregnant with our second daughter, Adrian, and so she and Hannah are just a little under 19 months apart. And then when Adrian was, I believe, 14 months, I believe she was 14 months old, or just about to turn 14 months, I found out I was pregnant with our third, Michaela. They are 2 weeks shy of 2 years apart. Michaela was born March 14th. Adrian was born 2 years prior, March 31st, so almost 2 years prior. So they're 2 weeks away from being 2 years apart. And we were completely content. We were not trying, we figured we'd wait about until Michaela was close to 3 years old to even start trying for another baby. So you can imagine at 15 months when Michaela turned 15 months old, I just had a feeling. I just was like, I feel like I need to go take a test. And we had a friend staying with us, so I asked her if she could watch the girls so I could run to the store. I didn't tell her why. I just asked her to watch the girls. I came home, took the test. It didn't even take I think they say like 2 to 5 minutes depending on the test. Didn't even take that time. I was watching it, and the control line wasn't even as dark as the test line. So it showed up immediately, and I freaked out. And don't get me wrong, every child is a blessing, and I believe that God has a purpose for every child conceived, but I was scared. My mind went straight to finances, and I knew my husband's would go straight to finances also. I am a stay-at-home mom, so I don't bring in any extra income. And with 3 daughters, I was freaking out. I was scared, nervous. I wanted to be excited, but I almost felt guilty being excited because we were not planning this for at least another year and a half. So I was actually heading to the shop that day anyway. For those of you who are new to the channel or just hopping on, my husband's family owns a cabinet shop, and I often will take the girls to go hang out with him there because most of the time he leaves before they wake up. So I got ready, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him. But once I got there, the girls were playing. He was in a great mood, and I was like, this may be a good time to tell him. So I asked him, hey, how's your day? And he was like, oh, not too busy. And I was like, all right. And I told him, I said, I'm pregnant. And he was already sitting down, so it's a good thing he was sitting down, because he kind of leaned back and just was in, like, shock, just covered his that was the only expression, shock, and then it went from shock to, oh my God, what's going on? Like, you could see his expression changing, and I felt horrible, that I was like, this is not something I can hide. And like I said, my mind, or I knew his mind would go straight to finances, and that's where it went. Like, he told me later on, he was trying to get a year's worth of work in one day. That night, I was sitting in bed, and I just felt this wave of guilt, and it was like, I felt like God was speaking to me, and he said, you have not once thanked me. And I felt so horrible. I was like, wow, you're right. I haven't. I was like, I know that every child has a purpose. And you have a purpose for this one. And I'm going to rejoice in that. And I'm going to thank you for that, for this opportunity. Because, I mean, I would have given anything. Wow, I didn't expect to get emotional. Thinking back to 2010 and 2011 and 12, when we were wanting to have a baby, and every time we would get pregnant, I'd lose that baby. I was like, I would have given anything for a surprise. And here I am, freaking out and letting my fear get the best of me. So it was from that moment on, I wrote down, man plans his way, but the Lord directs his path. The next morning, Jose woke up, and we both talked about it, and he was super excited, and he gave me a hug, and he said, we're going to get through this. We're going to make it, because he wouldn't give us something that we couldn't handle. So it's been smooth sailing ever since. At 6 weeks, though, I had a pretty big bleed and freaked out and went to the doctor, and everything was fine. Baby was perfect. And after I saw my midwife for the first time at around 10 to 12 weeks, she did inform me that I had some really prominent veins near my cervix, and that could be what was causing the bleeding if it was irritated while, everything's growing and changing, all the hormones and everything. So she said that could have been what caused the bleed. But the baby is perfect, and now I am 29 weeks. So thankfully, the beginning of my pregnancies are always pretty easy, I guess. It'll be our first birthing center experience, which I'm super excited about. I had all three of my oldest in the hospital, and I had a really traumatic experience with my first. If that's something you even want to hear about, leave a comment below and I will tell my birth story. I had a pretty simple experience with my second, but again, issues with staff. And then with my third, again, more issues. In the beginning of my pregnancies, I don't really experience morning sickness, but I do experience a lot of nausea. It's gotten worse with each pregnancy, as in the nausea lasts pretty much all day long instead of a portion of the day, and it lasts through my entire first trimester. With my first, it was only like about a week that I experienced some nausea. With my second, it was 2 weeks, and with my third and fourth, it was the entire first trimester. So that's no fun. And I apologize. I am experiencing a lot of breathlessness right now. Symptom of pregnancy, especially since I'm short. It's like everything gets pushed up. That's pretty much been a symptom from about 20 weeks on for me, breathlessness. I had my 20-week scan at about 21 weeks, and that's when we found out the gender, and it's going to be our fourth girl. Her name will be Shiloh. And everything was, as my midwife said, it was unremarkable, I believe were her words, which is a good thing. So, baby's growing perfectly. She started out big. So I went in to see my midwife. I know that you show a little bit earlier with each pregnancy. Your body just knows what to do. But I was showing really early. And normally I would show, but I would still be kind of like, it looked more bloated than anything. But this time, like, I felt like I was already carrying really high. My first appointment with my midwife, I was 16 and a half weeks. And when I went in, I was telling her about the fact that I thought I was carrying really high, and she kind of brushed it off. She was like, "Oh, well, you know, it's your fourth pregnancy," which is what I thought. And after our initial talk, she had me get on the bed, and she checked me. And she was just feeling around, and she said, "You're right." She was like, "You are carrying really high already." She said, "You feel like you're carrying a 21-weeker." She said it could be a couple things. It could be that you are carrying twins, or baby's just really big, or you could have just grown really fast and I'll hit a plateau. And that is exactly what happened. So at my 20-week scan, they said, "No, there's definitely only one in there. It's a girl." And when I went to see my midwife, again, I was 22 or 23 weeks. And when she measured me, she said I was still carrying a little bit bigger. I was still measuring a little bigger. So at the time I was 23 weeks, and I was measuring at about 25 weeks, which is not terrible. But she said, or which isn't, abnormal. 27 weeks. So I was 27 weeks. And when she measured me, 27 weeks and 3 days. When she measured me, she said I was measuring right on target, 27 and a half weeks-ish, around there. So I definitely have hit a plateau. So I just got big really fast and then slowed down my growth. And some cravings I have been having are icy, which my midwife said I'm probably low in iron. I have been so backed up with this pregnancy. I haven't even gotten any of my blood work done. So I'm doing that next week. I'm getting my blood work done in the beginning of the week, and then at the end of the week I have to do my gestational diabetes, where they make you drink that horrible drink. It's not terrible, it's just so sweet, and it makes me feel nauseous every single time. I guess I do crave some sweets every once in a while. Like yesterday I wanted something chocolatey. I had one Pop-Tart and I was happy, like the Oreo Pop-Tarts. And but the majority of stuff I really crave is honeydew. I could eat honeydew, watermelon all day long. As far as sleep goes, I sleep pretty well. I am normally I used to be a tummy sleeper, but ever since having kids and nursing, it just doesn't ever work out. But now I sleep on either side, so I flip-flop a lot throughout the night, but I do get a pretty good amount of sleep. No matter how much sleep I get, I'm always exhausted. I could have the best energy is usually up until nap time, and then after nap time I crash. I just am super tired and want to go to sleep. In the beginning of my pregnancy, these were a couple of symptoms that I had. I went through a phase where I would break out quite a bit, and I still get little breakouts here and there, but not as bad as it was in the beginning of my pregnancy. I would break out a lot, in my chin, which is hormonal, and a little bit on my chest, just upper chest, right here, and my back a little bit, but that's calmed down quite a bit. And there was 2 weeks that I went through, I would have headaches every single day. It was horrible. Thankfully, I would take a couple of Tylenol and it'd kick it usually, or if I had some caffeine. So they may have been caffeine related, but I don't see how, because I don't drink a ton of caffeine, so who knows. But if you have any questions, leave a question down below in the comments. That'd be great. I'd love to interact with you guys, especially if you are expecting, if it's your first pregnancy and you're curious about what could happen. And like I said before, if you're interested in seeing any of my, or in hearing about any of my birth stories, they're all completely different. So you can get a really good idea of all the different scenarios that you can expect. But yeah, so leave me questions in the comment section down below. And before I close this out, I'll show you I guess a belly shot. I'm going to keep my shirt down though, but I will show you how big little girl is. You can see the front. This, again, I am 29 weeks and about 2 to 3 days, depending on the calendar. From the side, and then other side. She's sticking out there. Things change in the next couple weeks. I'll probably post another video, maybe around the 30 to 31 week mark. Another update, and of course beyond that, it's cool just to see the growth each week. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, I'd love for you to stick around, so hit that subscribe button and your notification bell. I do vlogs, like day in the life, some clean with me, grocery hauls. So that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed again, and we shall see you in the next one, and have a great day. Bye.